are photos of an island in the South Pacific.
The place where myth and science meet.
We use explosives to shake the earth, helping us to map the surface of the island.
You're dropping bombs. Scientific instruments.
Is that a monkey?
Yep, I'm pretty sure that's a monkey, alright. Let's ask him. Are you a monkey? What do you think?
It's a good group of boys. We're all gonna die together out here. You should have come here.
That's not funny, you sick fuck. Welcome to Time About the Movies, everybody. We got a double feature this weekend. Very rare double feature for 2 weekends with 2 big blockbusters here. We got March 10th and March 17th. We have the one new release for March 10th, which we're going to get to right now, plus 4 other titles for March 17th. So, let's jump on into it. Kong Skull Island. A diverse team of scientists, soldiers, and adventurers unite to explore a mystical, uncharted island in the Pacific. As dangerous as it is beautiful, cut off from everything they know, the team ventures into the domain of the mighty Kong, igniting the ultimate battle between man and nature. As their mission of discovery becomes one of survival, they must fight to escape a primal Eden in which humanity does not belong. And when it comes to the King Kong movies, they have definitely varied in quality. The original 1933 is still the definitive classic version. I like the 76 version a lot more than I did before when I watched this movie for the first time, Kong Skull Island, but I do like the 76 version more. It's definitely very 1970s. I mean, it is a modern-day King Kong film, but pretty schmaltzy, but a fun kind of schmaltzy, and certainly a lot better than King Kong Lives, but the sequel that came afterwards. But I did really like the Peter Jackson one a lot, though, the 2005 one, even though a lot of people really didn't. So, where does this new Kong fare up? Kind of in the middle. I'll put it this way. When King Kong and the creatures are on the screen, the movie is insanely good fun, but when it's the actors on screen, that's where a lot of the big problems come into play. Let's start with those actors, because holy mother of God, you have such a strong cast in this movie. Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson, John Goodman, Toby Kebbell, Corey Hawkins, Jason Mitchell, Thomas Mann, John C. Reilly. And a lot of these characters they're playing are just so bland and forgettable, mostly because the script is absolutely horrible. It's really one of the worst things about this movie in general. I mean, let's be honest. Tom Hiddleston's character is the generic good guy action hero with a cliched riddled storyline. His character in this shouldn't even have been named James Conrad. It should have been Jean-Eric Gagai, because he literally has no personality to him whatsoever. I mean, Brie Larson's basically the film's equivalent of April O'Neil. She's only there to be the damsel in distress and to be the outsider because she's a woman and a photographer. And this is in the 1970s. Ooh, no, we do this to you on that right there. I can't remember what it's called here, but yeah, shaming you. Let's just go with that. But Samuel L. Jackson's character is the worst written character, man, because he changes his tone throughout the course of this movie, throughout this entire movie, where he literally becomes the main villain of the movie. Plus, he's only there to just be Sam Jackson and say one-liners. There's even a point where they make him repeat one of his lines from Jurassic Park, and it's forced. I mean, it is one of the most forced ways to say that line ever. And if you know which line I'm talking about, yeah, it's just like, wow, man, like, wow, this is just, I mean, Corey Hawkins and Jason Mitchell are wasted in this. There's an Asian character who's completely pointless, only here to appeal to the international audience of the film. I mean, this is done by Tencent Pictures, one of the international houses that made a lot of these movies back then. Yeah, literally, she serves no purpose except to just be the love interest to Corey Hawkins' character. That's it. A good majority of these characters are badly written. At least the characters in Pacific Rim, Godzilla, and even Jurassic World were at least tolerable. A good majority of them in this are horrendously handled, and that leads into the biggest problem with this movie. The script is absolutely terrible. I mean, this is a god-awful script because the characters are written in this so horribly. The setups in this are so badly set up. They're trying to cram in lines for this for people to remember. There's pointless characters who are only in here to just be quirky and cliched riddled. Them trying to set up running gags and recurring lines that don't work at all. All these elements really take that movie down extremely low. I also hate how this movie is shot. I mean, there are so many pointless symbolic shots in this movie where they're using the slides, and then a new slide comes up, and then it cuts to the machine with this booming sound of doom every time a new slide changes. When they're flying onto the island, they keep cutting back to this Richard Nixon bobblehead. They keep zooming in on King Kong's eyes like it's supposed to mean something here. What's the point of these shots? What are you doing here? Why are you doing this? Just like, stop turning into Terrence Malick and Tarsem Singh and give me a reason why you're doing this, because none of this makes a damn difference in this movie whatsoever. Speaking of our good friend Terrence Malick, we're going to hear from him a little bit later on in the show, so stay tuned. But with that said, I do have my positives with the movie. I criticize the characters for how they acted and being written, but the actors are doing the best they can to try to make it work through the material that they have here, which is pretty bad. The overacting on the performances are fine, they're just not great. The only actors I really liked in this was John Goodman. I thought he was having a lot of fun playing this John Hammond menacing type role in this, and surprisingly, John C. Reilly, who, you see him in the trailer, and you think he's going to be the film's equivalent to Jar Jar Lex Luthor from Batman v Superman, and he was surprisingly one of the stronger characters in the film. He actually got a lot more funnier laughs out of this from him than I expected to. He did get some legitimately good, decent laughs in this, and his performance is more toned down than that trailer makes it out to be. It's not ridiculously over the top. The only other characters I did like were Jason Mitchell and Thomas Mann, mostly because they're the only two people in this who should be having the right reactions after getting attacked by a fucking giant monkey. I swear to God, everybody else in this movie acts way too calm and collected. You should not be acting like this. Everything is all hunky-dory and all that. No, this is something that you seriously need to take seriously. How many times can I say seriously? Take a shot if you want to. But I think we're up to, 4 times now? Maybe more than that. But let's be real honest here. The only reason you're going to see this movie is to see King Kong kick so much ass. And you know what? King Kong kicks a lot of ass in this movie. This isn't like Godzilla, where Godzilla's only showing up for 10 minutes of a 2-hour movie. No, you get King Kong for a good majority of this film. And when he shows up on screen, he commands it. When it's an action sequence or just a simple scene, it works. He shines very well on screen here. The mocap work is nicely done here. This is Terry Notary, who does a lot of mocap work and stunt work going all the way back to his work on The Grinch 17 years prior, the Jim Carrey film. He's excellent in this, and you can tell he took a lot from Andy Serkis, which makes sense because Notary also did the Planet of the Apes movies. And, yeah, it ties it back in because Andy Serkis was King Kong in the Peter Jackson film, too. So it all comes full circle, sort of. But the scenes with Kong in this are spectacular. The action sequences are nicely done. I even like the quieter moments. You know, just him walking around the island, really getting to watch. There's even one shot where you see Hiddleston and Larson on the side of a cliff with this dense fog all around. You can tell Kong is here, but you're just seeing his eyes in the fog, and it looks incredible. Like, it's the best shot in the movie, where it's just the three of them just sharing a scene in general. I think it's very well done. So, how do you describe a movie like Kong Skull Island? I mean, it's not a movie that is one of the better films overall, especially in this MonsterVerse that they put up. I'll touch more on that in just a second, but it's not the best representation of King Kong, but I think it's one that is worth checking out on a big screen. After that, if it's on TV and there's literally nothing else on, it's worth a watch there. And I think it is worth I don't think you really need to see it to see the other MonsterVerse movies that come after this, because of course this is setting up the big crossover with Godzilla and King Kong coming up in a couple years' time. But before that, we'll get another Godzilla movie after this next year. 2 years from now, excuse me. The acting is okay, but the characters are badly written, mostly because the script is so lousy. The action sequences are good. Kong does carry the film when he's on screen. It's definitely a mixed bag movie. If you're looking for a good, fun, over-the-top monster movie, this is definitely one to check out. But if you want some character development, you're not going to find it here. Whatever your poison is, pick it up, pick it and decide for yourself. Me, personally, I liked it. You know, just set this up so we can get Godzilla vs. Kong in 2020, or wait, 2021, I guess, because of COVID, but yeah, you get the idea. A good film, it's an okay movie, not a great film overall, So let's jump ahead to the next weekend and take a look at another big blockbuster release. One of the first is easily the first big blockbuster hit of the year. That is, of course, Disney's Beauty and the Beast.
Look, a girl.
Yes, I can see it's a girl, you fool.
What if she is the one?
Hello?
Don't let that trailer fool you. I know I did when I saw that movie. They're trying to do the same thing they did with Cinderella a couple years back, where they give you like a nice looking teaser trailer. The Cinderella, of course, had the glass slipper. Of course, you got the rose, and you see a little bit of Emma Watson there, and you hear a little bit of Ewan McGregor and Ian McKellen as Lumiere and Cogsworth. But actually, I was right. Lumiere and Cogsworth are played by McGregor and McKellen. I thought it was the other way around, but yeah, it's a good-looking teaser trailer, but do not believe the movie you're going to get here. Yeah, this movie me and this movie do not have good memories when I first saw it. I'll touch more on that in just a second, but this is, of course, a remake of the classic 1991 animated Disney film Beauty and the Beast, the first animated feature to ever be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. In my opinion, it should have won over Silence of the Lambs, but hey, what are you going to do? Disney's animated classic takes on a new form with a widened mythology and an all-star cast. A young prince imprisoned in the form of a beast can be freed only by true love. What may be his only opportunity arrives when he meets Belle, played by Emma Watson, the only human girl to visit the castle since it was enchanted. Now, like most people, as I said, Beauty and the Beast, I think, is a terrific movie. It's one of the definitive Disney animated classics. I love it. The great animation, the great storytelling, the love story works really well. The songs are well done. A lot of great twists and turns to work to the film's advantage. So, yeah, this live-action adaptation had a lot of needs to do to be as good as the original film. And from the marketing standpoint, they did a good job selling people on this film. You know, this was back when Disney's marketing department was just killing it with every single movie. It got people's butts into the seats. And it paid off big time. Everyone went to go see these movies. They made them big hits, even though some of them were not going to turn out to be great most of the time. But, hey, we were on a high with Cinderella and the Jungle Book, and clearly we thought, you know, Beauty and the Beast is clearly going to be another one of those movies that's going to outshine everybody's expectations and become a great film overall. And, needless to say, not so much. I went into this with a lot of high expectations because I love the original Beauty and the Beast, and by the time I got out, I felt underwhelmed and disappointed. I mean, because, you know, Beauty and the Beast, the original, is such a perfect Disney movie. And for this movie to do what it does, they did take a lot of the magic and wonder out of it that made that original movie so special. I mean, with these live-action Disney films, with these live-action adaptations getting better and better over the last few years of this time period. I mean, like I said, Cinderella was great. Jungle Book was a great one. Pete's Dragon was really good. So yeah, needless to say, I was expecting them to put a lot more effort into this one. And, you know, from a visual standpoint, they did just that. The visuals overall are really good. And I'll start with the positives, because there are positives to this. Like I said, the movie looks visually gorgeous. You can definitely tell they put a lot of the time and effort to make this movie look like the animated film in real life. And the production design and the costume work was very nicely done. I would not have been surprised if this... I was really expecting this to kind of sweep the, you know, creative, whatever you want to call it, the production design category and costume design. Because, yeah, they did a pretty good job of doing that, but I don't think it won... I don't think it even got nominated for any of these Oscars, to be honest with you. If you're going to nominate this movie for anything, it's that. But, I thought the overall cast was really good, too. You know, Emma Watson's nicely cast as Belle. She does fit that role nicely, and she does work off the cast very well, especially Dan Stevens as the Beast, who I thought was really good. And I did like how he did channel a lot of Robbie Benson's original performance from the original. The chemistry between Belle and Beast in this is really well done. I mean, I like the fact that the Beast is more misunderstood in this one, and actually does have some nice little quippy one-liners to him that makes him more relatable to Belle. I thought Luke Evans' Gaston was really good, too, but at the same time, I really didn't like how they made Gaston more villainous than he was in the original film. What made Gaston great in the original movie was that they played him off in the beginning as the hero of the movie. Like, you know, he's the big, muscular guy. In any other film, he'd be the hero, and the Beast would be the villain. But as that film continues on, and Belle continues to reject Gaston, his more evil side does come out of this, and the progression of that is in the original works very well. So much better than it does here, where just right off the bat, he's the bad guy. It's just like, you know, Josh Gad as LeFou, I thought was really solid in this. I thought he did a pretty good job. He had a lot of fun moments in here, a lot of good jokes. They did a good job of expanding his character here. Plus, I will just say this, though there was a controversy going on about LeFou being gay in this, which I have nothing against that whatsoever. I mean, this is being recorded as we're in the middle of Pride Month here. Not even in the middle, we're right at the beginning of it. But there was this whole controversy about him being gay, and really, it's one of those things where Disney made a big deal out of it, but they made a big deal out of something that really is a non-factor in this film whatsoever. Like, if you really are offended by this idea that LeFou is gay in this, you have nothing to worry about. It's literally a millisecond of a scene. I mean, if you blink or had your ears blocked, you would have easily missed it. If you had gone to the bathroom during during that scene, you wouldn't have missed a damn thing. It's a controversy that was blown completely out of proportion. I mean, LeFou really is one of the great things that stands out about this movie overall, and I really liked what Josh Gad did bring to the table here, so very well. But the rest of the cast overall is great. I like Kevin Kline as Maurice. Ewan McGregor and Ian McKellen work very well as Lumiere and Cogsworth. Guba Mbatha Raw is really good as the Plumette. Emma Thompson's great as Mrs. Potts. Audra McDonald is very fun in this, playing Madame de Garderobe. And Stanley Tucci has a nice, fun little role as the cadenza, if you will. The CG overall is really good. A lot of the computer-generated scenes are very impressively handled. I even didn't mind the Beast. I know a lot of people were complaining about how he looks in some scenes, but I didn't mind it. When it's recreating the original movie, most of the time it does hold up nicely in live-action form. There are a couple times when they add an element to it that really makes it fall apart, but we'll get to that as we go along here. Most of the music is nicely done. I thought Alan Menken did a very good job coming in here doing the score for this. I thought the Be Our Guest sequence was nicely done, with Ewan McGregor doing a really good spot-on version of the song, and the visuals are great too. It's about as exciting and as gorgeous looking as it does in the original film. Emma Thompson singing a Beauty and the Beast is spot-on too. When she sung it, I really thought that it was Julie Andrews singing it, because she's singing it like Julie Andrews does, but even though Angela Lansbury played her in the original movie. But the ballroom sequence is great too, and I saw this in 3D. It looked incredible to watch this in 3D. It did perfectly capture the spirit of the original film. I even like the original song they threw in here, Evermore, which I thought was actually a good addition to the song here. Which does lead me to the last positive thing I can say about this: legitimately effective dramatic scenes, especially with the appliances. There's another great song that they add in here called Days in the Sun, where you have this sequence that takes place after Belle saves the Beast from the wolves. It's an effectively impressive sequence, especially towards the end when the scene turns in the scene where they turn into all the antiques. It's a great emotional scene overall. Like, it really is a well-done scene, and you can definitely tell they were putting some new creative ideas into this that were working. I don't think I felt more for talking appliances, not since the original Beauty and the Beast, but since the Brave Little Toaster of all things. So yeah, there is definitely a lot of positives about this movie that I did really enjoy. But then you get to the negatives, and when the negatives happen, that's when the film falls apart. And we see the first problem right from the get-go with the opening sequence, which isn't the stained glass opening like in the original film, but instead they set the scene up in real life with the cast. But the opening has so much more foreshadowing and obvious, you get at points where it's literally like poking you like this. Like, is this annoying you right now? Because that's what that opening is doing to you right now. It gets so annoying. For example, there's a scene where the castle staff is helping the prince get ready for a debutante ball, and all the staff are either holding, standing, or next to the thing that they're going to transform into. Once the Enchantress comes in. Cogsworth's holding a clock. Gee, I wonder what he's going to turn into. Lumiere is holding a candle. The cadenza is playing a piano. The dog is sitting on a footrest. And it's like the movie is literally foreshadowing this in your face. Like, it's just like, again, do you get it? Do you get the point that we're trying to get across here from you? We think you're this stupid, people. That's what literally Disney is telling you with this. Like, we don't need this element to be in the movie. I have no problem with the film beginning with showing the actual story of how the Beast and the staff got cursed, but when you throw in those obvious foreshadowed moments, it just ruins the impact of what you're trying to go for here. And keep in mind that this takes up the first 5 to 10 minutes of the movie, and it almost took me out of the film instantly. Which leads us into problem number 2 with the movie, and it was one of the things that everyone was complaining about, and I agree: auto-tuned Emma Watson singing. I mean, my God, what were you guys thinking? Remember when everyone was overusing auto-tune like crazy, and Disney decided, well, we can do that too in our movie? Look, I'm sure Emma Watson has a good singing voice, but right off the bat, with the opening song, which in the original perfectly opens the movie up, gives you a good idea of the world that Belle lives in, and why people see her as kind of an outcast, with Paige O'Hara doing a pitch-perfect song of that. I mean, I know we look at Be Our Guest, Gaston, and Beauty and the Beast as the more memorable songs from the soundtrack, but that song is just as important because it does a job of setting up not only the film, but also our characters. But when you listen to this version here and they butcher it with auto-tune, I'm sorry, you can't do that. You can't just trick us into thinking that this is an auto-tune when you can clearly hear it. It just doesn't flow as well as I think they wanted it to be. But to the credit of the film, Belle's singing does get better as it goes along here. When she's singing the songs later in the movie, and the auto-tuning doesn't become as much of a distraction as it does in the beginning. But I'm sorry, right from the get-go, that really did bug me overall. Something I will take back from my original review for this. There was a part during Gaston's song where they added this whole bit where LeFou, kept trying to spell Gaston's name, and it's this long bit. And I originally thought that was something they added in for this movie in particular, but it turns out it's actually from the original soundtrack. It was actually something that was only for the soundtrack only. You don't hear it in the movie, so yeah, I thought it was a distracting thing at first, but I'm willing to take that back now, because now I know that was an original part of the original soundtrack from the 1991 movie. It's funny, because I've listened to that soundtrack so many times, I never figured it out until just recently, and it's just kind of like, how did I not notice that when that was on the original soundtrack? It's just, it's odd, but really, the biggest problems come into play when they add in these new additions. The whole time-traveling book element they bring into this makes no sense whatsoever. We're already in a world where magic exists. Do we really need a time-traveling book to be thrown in there? And I get why they did it. They wanted to use a scene to allow a reason to develop more of Belle's backstory with her mother, but there is a way you could have done this better. Like, have the magic mirror be the portal to see what happened to her mother. Like, you can literally have the little mirror that, when the Beast and Belle are talking, like, show me the Beast, show me the girl, like have the mirror be the time traveling thing. Don't have a book thrown in here, because when you throw that book in there, you have to ask the question now, if this time-traveling book exists, why couldn't you use the staff to go back in time to stop the prince from turning the enchanters away at the ball? Thus reversing everything that happens from this point on. I know they say the Beast couldn't do it himself because of the curse, but you've added a plot hole that makes no sense whatsoever and makes you ask more questions than answer them. But then again, we wouldn't have a movie if they did that, is what I just said. I remember when that happened, when they first revealed that time-traveling book. I walked out of the theater, and I just had my head going like, no. You cannot be this stupid. You cannot be this fucking stupid. I could have walked out at that point, but I kept through it. But the fact that for some reason it snows whenever you're near the castle, so you're now adding a timetable for when this takes place, especially when they say, snow in June? The reason why you could buy the original film's timeline is because it's never specified how long of a period of time it is between the time Belle's taken prisoner to the time when the Beast becomes human again. It explains why it's snowing in some scenes in the original and not in others by setting up that it's snowing because of the curse and the thing takes place in June. You're taking away a lot of the mystery of the storyline. It's like showing the reason why Phil Connors kept finding himself in the same day as Groundhog Day. What makes that movie work is because you never see the reasoning behind it. You never see the reasoning behind why Phil is repeating Groundhog Days over and over again. And to show why that character is reliving that day would ruin the overall goal the movie is setting. And I know that Groundhog Day did have a scene where they were going to explain it. It was going to be like, he was repeating the same day. I think he was supposed to be, I think he was going to some kind of gypsy or something like that. But if I remember correctly, I can't remember which which pamphlet of the DVD actually had what was the original ending for this, but it got cut, and they either shot it or it's cut, because we've never seen that ending since. But you get my point. Revealing more of the mystery and the curse here takes away a lot of the suspense and the excitement of the movie. On the same note, the obvious enchantress that appears throughout the movie instead of just in the opening. The second she came on screen, all I kept thinking to myself is, she's going to keep showing up throughout this movie, isn't she? And sure enough, yes, she does. The actress who plays her, Hattie Monahan, was pretty good in this, but she's not really there to do much. She doesn't even talk in this. And again, you're taking a lot of the suspense and the excitement away when you have her show up and not contributing anything until the end of the movie. But the moment that really bugged the hell out of me, it's one brief scene, and when I saw it, everyone was laughing in the theater when it happened, but when I saw it, it was just kind of like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. A lot of people won't mention it because it was so brief, but I was mad when this happened again. Dog pissing jokes. And not only a dog pissing joke, but a dog pissing joke that follows a heavily emotional scene where the curse, if lifted, the curse is lifted and everything is all epic and exciting, and the beast turns back into human, and the castle returns to its former glory. And then the first thing they do, the second they cut back to the antiques, show the footrest turning back into a dog, and then the dog pissing on one of the other appliances. And to me, that made me so mad. Watching that scene, because not only is it a cheap, childish joke to get a gross-out joke in there, but it's completely inappropriate to put it in there in the middle of this emotional moment where the appliances are turning back into people. It's supposed to be this exciting moment, but you ruin it when you add a bad gross-out joke like that, because you think the movie is becoming stale during a heavily emotional moment here. It's a moment that insults the integrity of the original intent of that scene in the animated movie. And you could just tell that one of these Gen Z Disney studio executives who had just come from another studio where they threw in gross-out jokes or cheap laughs, 20th Century Fox maybe, and didn't get the subtext of that scene and said, "Hey guys, I got a terrific idea that the kids are going to absolutely love. Let's put a piss joke in here." I'm sorry, I'm spending so much time on this one scene, but it made me mad. And again, people were laughing in the theater when this happened, but I was just kind of like, I mean, nobody's going to bring it up, but I can't help it. It bothers me so much that this movie, that's supposed to be a timeless story, would have such a cheap excuse for a gross-out joke that's lazily thrown in there, and they think that nobody would see it because it's a blink-in, you'll-miss-it moment, and I have to bring it up. I mean, this isn't like what I said before about the whole gay controversy thing. I mean, that was a stupid controversy to begin with. There's no excuse for this. Like, I'm sorry, there's just not. So really, what's my overall final thoughts on this movie? It's complicated. It's a very polarizing film. There's times when I really hate it, but then there's times where I do like it. The cast is really good. The music can be good when it's not. The visuals are amazing. When it sticks to the original story, it's great to see it in real life. But then the added elements really ruin the integrity of the heart of the original story. The original film was only 84 minutes. This is 2 hours and 9 minutes. They had 35 minutes of material that does not need to be there because a lot of the newer stuff feels padded out. The original Beauty and the Beast is such a classic, pitch-perfect movie. Everything about it just works. This live-action movie is a competently made movie, but an overall pointless remake of a perfect movie, in my opinion. It just doesn't have that edge that other Disney live-action movies at that time had, like Cinderella, or The Jungle Book, or Pete's Dragon. I'm not going to say it's a terrible movie, but what I will say is that it's a film that did let me down in so many ways. It's not on the same level as something like a Batman v Superman, where the more I think about it, the more I hate it. The heart is definitely in the right place when it needs to be, but the overall result is a competently made, but overall pointless remake of what I think is a very perfect film. There may have been something there that wasn't there before, but maybe there was a good reason why they should have just kept it there, so. But there you go. I probably spent, almost 20 minutes talking about this movie, so we still got 3 more films to take a look at here. So let's just go ahead and jump into our next movie, which is The Belko Experiment.
All employees, lend me your full attention.
There are 80 of you in the building. In 2 hours.
We want 30 of you dead. Commence.
They do not have the right to take innocent lives.
What are you doing?
My wife and kids need me.
The Belko Experiment, rated R, in theaters, March 17th.
A really good idea, but sometimes not a really good idea doesn't make for a really great movie, as this movie shows, for example. So in this movie, you have 80 foreigners, mainly Americans, working abroad from a company named Belko Industries in Bogota, Colombia. One day after they arrive at work, they are locked inside the building, and a mysterious voice announces that if the employees do not start killing each other, they will be killed themselves. That voice is being voiced by Joel McHale, and you have a cast that includes notable names like Tony Goldwyn, John Gallagher Jr., Adriana Arjona, John C. McGinley, Melanie Diaz, Sean Gunn. I mean, his brother wrote this movie, Josh Brenner, David Dastmalchian, Michael Rooker, Greg Henry. It's actually Greg Henry doing the voice, even though it did sound like Joel McHale. It's actually Greg Henry from what was he? He was in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, but he's done a lot of other stuff too. You'd know him if you've seen him before. But who else is in here? Abraham Ben Ruby. I think I said Michael Rooker's in here. Michaela Hoover, who was just recently in Superman playing Cat Grant. I mean, there is a good cast involved in this movie, and again, a really good idea in general, and it helps that you have a script written by James Gunn, who was also the producer on this movie, along with Peter Safran, who, of course, now both of them work at Warner Brothers as under DC. But it's one of those movies where it has a really good idea, kind of mix between Office Space meets Battle Royale, meets The Raid, meets a little bit of Train to Busan a little bit, meets also a little bit of Most Dangerous Game. I know I just named 5 different things, but that's really what the movie felt like in general, and it felt like there was a good idea in here, but a good idea only go so far. If you don't have a fully realized script here in general, the film overall doesn't really live up to what it could have been. It kind of reminds me of another movie that Blumhouse Tilt did. This is the same company that did The Green Inferno, the Eli Roth movie, which at times had a lot of promise to it, but then there were times when it was just kind of like, yeah, I feel like they're focusing more on how much gore they can throw in there than actually trying to tell a story here. And yeah, if there was a little bit of more satirical humor to this, maybe there could definitely have been something really good here, but it just didn't quite live up to the potential that I thought it would have here. And it's a shame because, like I said, it's a movie where I feel like it could have been so much better. And maybe if James Gunn had him directing this movie, then probably it could have worked. But, I mean, it doesn't help that this director, Greg McLean, the guy that also gave us last year's infamous The Darkness, as well as stuff like Rogue and Wolf Creek, which not very many good films in general here, but I mean, to its credit, it's not terrible, but it's an idea that's not fully realized. Let's just go with that. At times there were parts of it where I thought it was kind of cool, but other times not so much. So yeah, not much more to say about that except a mixed bag of a movie. Not bad, but not great either. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie. Another film into the category of sequels that did not need to exist. T2, Trainspotting.
What's Stu's life?
Here we go.
Choose your friends. Choose Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, and choose wishing you'd done it all differently. Choose life.
Trainspotting, rated R.
That's right, folks. Another sequel nobody was asking for, coming 20 plus years after the original film. But I guess Danny Boyle said, fuck you, I'm doing it anyway. First there was an opportunity, then there was a betrayal. 20 years have gone by, much has changed, but just as much remains the same. Mark Renton, played by Ewan McGregor, returns to the only place he can ever call home. They are waiting for him. Spud, Ewan Brenner, Sick Boy, Johnny Lee Miller, and Begbie, Robert Carlyle. Other old friends are waiting too. Sorrow, loss, joy, vengeance, hatred, friendship, love, longing, fear, regret, morphine, self-destruction, and mortal danger. They're all lined up to welcome him, ready to join the dance. So yeah, this movie really does fall into those categories of a sequel that is absolutely unnecessary. There's no reason why you should be making this movie unless you really have a good hook to bring everybody back for this film. I will say this though. This wasn't as bad as I think a lot of these other legacy sequels are. Far from it. I would actually say it's okay. It's not great. It's not incredible. It's just okay. It's a movie where I think it does lack the freshness and the real uniqueness of the original film. It doesn't have those memorable moments that the original film did. And yet, there is still enough in here to say that there is at least a reason why they're doing another movie here. I can see why they wanted to make another one of these movies, because there is a lot of story you could tell with these characters involved in this. It is at least a film where I can honestly say that there was at least a reasoning for why we wanted to make this so badly. Like, there is at least more character development. There is still a sense of being there. And you could tell that everyone was fully game on this. You didn't feel like anybody was coming into this just to simply do another movie because, hey, the first one was such a memorable blockbuster that we have to make another one. No, there actually does serve a purpose to this, and you do see a lot of the things that do make this original film, the sequel, worthwhile. Like, you do get more emphasis on what these characters have been doing in the 20 years since this last movie. You do get a sense that there is some ideas that they wanted to try in this movie that they probably couldn't do in the original film. There is a sense that they were at least trying to accomplish something here. Do I think they made it work at all the way through? Not exactly, but it is a movie that I am at least glad to say that it's not a bad movie. It's not one of these pointless sequels that nobody was asking for, does nothing to serve the purpose, that does nothing to It's not a sequel that's not delivering a sequel just to make it off of name recognition. There is at least somewhat of a purpose to this film's existence, pretty much. It's a film I do like. I think it is a good movie. It's nowhere near as good as the original film, but it is good enough to say I can see why it should be made. So, yeah, that's probably the best reaction you can get from me out of this one. Good movie, not a great movie, but at least it's better than a lot of bad legacy sequels we've gotten, especially in the last couple of years. So let's go ahead and wrap this long show up here with our good friend Terrence Malick. He's back, and he's back with another pretentious piece of garbage. Ladies and gentlemen, Song to Song.
I didn't know why I was coming to this party. And then I saw you and I thought, that's why.
As I wander along, I wonder what went wrong with our love.
We thought we could just roll and tumble, live from song to song, kiss to kiss.
And as I still wonder,
We should make a record together. I know you do the live music thing. Don't you want to make some money? You've got talent.
while our hearts were young.
Ask me what it means! Ask me what it means! Ooh. Wrong director, but you get the whole idea. It is very much a pretentious piece of garbage from a director that maybe there was a good reason why he took that long break between The Thin Red Line and what was that movie he did? Days of Heaven, and also The New World. But yeah, Song to Song, finding love, obsession, and betrayal in the Austin, Texas music world, featuring a cast that includes Rooney Mara, Ryan Gosling, Michael Fassbender, Natalie Portman, and Cate Blanchett. Also Holly Hunter and Bernice Marjoli from The Artist. Val Kilmer is also in the movie too. They got all these different musicians in here. Too bad there's no purpose to the film's existence. I mean, yeah, there's literally nothing about this movie that has anything that makes it worth existing. I mean, it's the perfect definition of a pretentious piece of garbage that's trying to make you think that it's much more insightful and much more important than it actually is. Like this is the movie that the snobby film critics out there praise as one of the best movies of the year, but people like me, who like a lot of films, look at it and go like, wow, this movie is fucking boring as shit. Yeah, so, what more can you say, man? Song to Song, yeah, not a very good film overall. That's really all I gotta say about it, man. Sorry, I got distracted by something I saw on TV. Yeah, that was very weird. Like, I was literally about to stop the review, and then I look at the corner of my TV, and they're showing, like, a clip from an upcoming movie. I'm not gonna say which one it is, but it's a movie I've been definitely looking forward to, but I gotta say, that was a pretty odd-looking visual overall, and I'm actually kind of surprised they threw that in the trailer for that, but, anyway, water under the bridge. We'll save that for when that movie comes out next week, but anyway, that's going to do it for this episode of Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, we'll take a look at a couple more films in March, including Power Rangers, the new live-action remake produced by Michael Bay, directed by the guy who did Project Almanac, and featuring Elizabeth Banks as Rita Repulsa and Bryan Cranston as Zordon. A couple other notable names that we'll touch on. In addition to that, we'll take a look at Jake Gyllenhaal and Ryan Reynolds starring in the new sci-fi film that's hoping to become the next big franchise instead of just being another Alien knockoff. Take a guess at what life is going to be. We'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at a movie that's trying to become the new Starsky and Hutch film for this generation, with Dax Shepard and Michael Pena starring in the feature film version of Chips, which Shepard directed. That's it. Only those three films in particular that we'll touch on next time around here. I'm getting so confused. I'm getting so interrupted by stuff here for some reason today. I don't know why, but anyway, that's gonna wrap this episode up here. I think it's because I've been doing this so long now. I think we're coming up now, probably coming up on near 35-40 minutes for this particular one. But hey, I decided to put these 2 weeks together, so blame me for that. But anyway, let's wrap this up here. Thank you so much for watching this, and if you enjoyed this, if you did find this enjoying, see, I can't even talk straight. If you did find some enjoyment out of this, more power to you, but if you want to see more videos like this, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button. Also, check out that playlist and check out our previous episodes. So, with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. I gotta get out of here. I'll see you next time. Take care.